So I give you a few minutes to catch up and come in with me today. I didn't give you a lot of notice, and I don't have a lot of time. I thought I would pop in and pick up whatever questions can come in whatever time I have and whatever notice that you have. How about that Pluto moving into Aquarius? Did you love that? Did you love it? I did. I'm still loving it. This is something I've been waiting for a number of years. Um, there's that energy of coming out of stagnancy with Pluto being in Capricorn at those final degrees and going back and forth, and then coming into an air sign. So Pluto in Aquarius is about moving forward at a rapid rate, transmutation at a rapid rate. We do things slowly and more steadily, and yeah, arguably with more uh, of a goal in mind when planets are going through Capricorn. But now we come into this energy of moving forward, revolution, not getting so caught up in what ifs. We take chances in the sign of Aquarius. So it's an exciting time personally because it gives us a chance to move forward with personal changes that typically we would have more resistance to. We embrace the unknown in Aquarius. We resist it in Capricorn. So all of us with planets at the latter degrees of any side are breathing a sigh of relief. All right, take a couple of questions here. And the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, we had revolutions and the Age of Enlightenment, what to expect for society. Well, everything is a cycle. So whatever happens now rhymes with what happens then. It's not an exact repeat. It does take into account the current state of things and how we've grown, but it rhymes with what we had then. And so we do have a lot of social and political revolutions that have been building that are going to come to a crisis point. And so we will see changes, big changes over the next years that, 20 years or so, that Pluto is in Aquarius. Changes that have been building because things have been breaking loose. As Pluto went through Capricorn, it was eating away at institutions and loyalties to what have always been the bones of our life, personally and socially. And so now we come to a different way of understanding what it is to be a part of a society, what it is to coexist, and how what's good for all of us is also good for the individual and vice versa. All right, so Lindsay, what's the difference between transit of the progress chart? How does one relate to your natal chart? So whatever is going on in the progress chart, these are internal tower moments. What's happening in transit is things that are happening externally, and we're reacting to that. but things are happening internally with the progress chart. So when I look at transits to both because I want to know what are the internal and external factors that are going on, and they often rhyme with each other. Julia, how to interpret a man's Lilith conjunct a woman's moon in synastry. So it's a conjunction. So the two are getting along by element, by sign, and they are in the house that they're both experiencing the same kind of triggers within. So Lilith is not disturbing the things of the moon because we don't have a difference in how the two things are reacting or responding or the stimulus that they are both feeding off of and using as points of growth because it's a conjunction. So the Lilithy part of the dude is in agreement with the moon part of the female, the internal world, where we are most vulnerable and where we're looking for belonging. So unless the Lilith dude has some issues with Lilith, uh, unless it's disturbed or aggressive or acting out in some way, when it comes to the Lilith factors, there's not going to be a problem there. Let's see. Can't make this go up any further. Ariana, wondering about out of bounds planets. Your Sagittarius Venus is out of bounds. So when a planet is out of bounds, it's unruly. It doesn't have the same tether to the sun that the other planets do. So you have to look at it like the sun is walking a pack of dogs, and they're all on a leash, except this one. And in this case, it's Venus. So it's going to be like a Maltese that you don't necessarily have to be afraid of. It's not an aggressive force, but it does have a mind of its own, and it isn't in the same pack. It isn't under the same control or authority as the rest of the planets are when it comes to the sun. So we tend to struggle with having a part of us that's looking for acceptance, relationship, the things related to desire, that not being within the same scope of self-control, or being as connected steadfastly to the identity. So we can do things, we can choose things, we can desire things, we can act out in ways that are very different from the more common desires of the rest of personality. So you may have to really look at are the people that you're choosing to partner with, what it is that you're choosing to invite into your life, the kinds of relationships you're attracted to, what is it that you want? Is that good for you? Is it something that's descriptive of a healthy self-esteem, healthy self-concept? We can deal with impatience and with immaturity connected to whatever planet is out of bounds. And we may have to work a little bit harder on that part of our nature when it comes to having it be aligned with, integrated with the rest of our personality. So we aren't acting out in this one area of life and it's causing us a headache because it's out of tune or out of alignment with the other things that we may want. All right, so let's see here. Oh, thank you, Lindy. I appreciate that. Oh, Imogene, I sympathize with you. You got a rough one there. Amanda, Pluto in Aquarius is now in conjunct to your 0-degree Mars in Cancer. Is this why I'm struggling to get anything done? Why I kind of deep down hate that I didn't what I didn't mind doing when Pluto was in Capricorn. I want to look at your Saturn transits and see if there's something going on there. But it sounds like this is the deeper kickoff to some of the changes that are going to be happening there, dealing with aggression, jealousy. It is harder to get things going in a streamlined way when we have transits to Mars, because that is the passion that we use to pursue. That's undergoing some big changes there. So dealing with guilt, imbalances between giving and getting, understanding why we may be self-abandoning in an effort to get something instead of being straightforward. Those are all in conjunction themes. So you're working through some stuff there. But, eventually the engine will not just start turning again, but it will be better tuned. Alrighty. So what are the best transits for love and romance? Venus transits to Sun, Mars, or Venus. Sun transits to Venus. Mars transits to Venus. The trine from transiting Mars to Moon. Some of the transits of Venus to Jupiter, Jupiter to Venus. Venus crossing the descendant or the ascendant. Those are the big ones that we look for. Armani, you have Capricorn Venus in the first. Come back. Capricorn Venus in the first, Capricorn Moon in the second. With Saturn in your fourth, what can you do to prepare for your Saturn return? Let's see. All right, so Saturn's going to be the big boy in charge of Venus and the Moon. And we do have the Saturn return. But Mars is going to be the big boy when it comes to ruling Saturn. So I want to look at the state of Mars. All right, so Saturn in Aries, we're dealing with some amount of impatience. We want to get things done quickly, not necessarily thoroughly, or with a lot of effort put into it. We're looking at the quality of our work, the quality of what we invest in. We can wrestle with being the little pig that builds their house out of straw with Saturn in certain signs that want to get things done quickly, not necessarily thoroughly or correctly. Whatever's coming through Aries, it has an infantile or immature or reflexive quality to it. We're learning to be mindful. We're learning to slow down and be considerate. But there's also a strength that comes with the impulsivity in Aries. We're learning how to use that correctly. We don't get hung up on things in Aries, but sometimes being considerate, being mindful is the right thing to do in some situations. We're learning how to know the difference. So there's some lessons there with Saturn and Aries for anybody related to stick-to-itiveness and grit and choosing not just what appeals to us in the moment, but what is really worth investing in. What can we really commit to and finish in the long run. So Saturn, when it comes into Aries, will eventually be transiting Venus and the Moon too. And that's going to be very grounding when it comes to your internal world and what you choose for yourself. Romantic interests, how you invest your money, your time, your attention. It's going to feel very boring for a little while because it's going to make you look at what's real and what's really worthy of you. Who is really worthy of you in the long run. So there's not going to be a lot of airy-fairy situations or conditions or people that are available. It does really feel like we're just having to learn to work with what we have, and there's less of it. But you'll be learning a quality over quantity. And the more that you can really appreciate what is real over what is plentiful, what you may have to work hard for, but it's lasting, you'll make it an easier time. All right, guys, that's what I have time for. I've got to run into town and pick up some things. It's a cold day out here, so I've got to go warm up my hands before I get busy. I will check in with you guys tomorrow, most likely. Have a great day.